If you know me, you know I like to talk, so I'll try and keep this brief today. Good afternoon, everybody. John Nahas, Vice President of Business Development at Ava Labs. I oversee the BD team across 6 verticals, some of the international teams as well. Wanted to talk to you today about the Web3 world according to Avalanche. So if I ask you guys what is Web3, I think each of you will have a different definition of what Web3 is. To some people, it's crypto. To some, it's blockchain. To some, it's a whole lot of things, right? But without a concrete definition of what Web3 is and what we think it is, then it's really hard to achieve a mission, right? So at Avalanche, at Ava Labs, we believe that Web3 is a global, decentralized digital economy. What does that mean, right? That means we are creating a place where artists, asset managers, inventors, businesses, whatever it may be, can transact and transfer value without a centralized party. So if you think of Web2 being the transfer of information, Web3 really is the transfer of value. And first, it needs to be global, right? It can't be business hours, 9 to 5 in the United States. It cannot be this time zone or that time zone. It needs to be 24/7, 365 across the world. It needs to be decentralized, it needs to be digital. And we need to work to get to that thing. And we believe that Avalanche is that infrastructure that allows the world to create this digital economy. But before we do that, what is wrong with Web3 currently and the way that the world is set up? Simply put, there's some roadblocks. First, high barrier of entry. Crypto people build crypto products for crypto users. It's not easy, it's not accessible. I might even say that as an industry, for the most part, crypto people are pretty elitist. What I mean by that is, for being an industry that wants to democratize, access and financial inclusion and all these great platitudes that you hear about in crypto, we've made it pretty damn hard to do this stuff, right? We have our seed phrases and our wallets and all these different things that we love to talk about because it makes us feel like we know something someone else doesn't, right? You're creating in-groups and out-groups. It's actually elitist, and that's counterintuitive to what we're trying to build. Second, it's unreliable. You have outages, you have reorgs, you have things that happen that don't allow for a constant, accessible framework that works in real time at a global level and a global network. Finally, it's siloed. If you look at the world right now, there are certain chains out there that are very niche oriented, and that's fine. But you need to connect this world together, right? You can't have separate silos for separate assets, for separate use cases, for separate geographies and separate jurisdictions. It's just not going to work. You need to build a framework that has interconnectedness at a level. And this is, multi-chain, this is a million different things. But these are the things that are really holding us back. So what do we need? This is kind of our vision and our mission on the BD team at Ava Labs. First, wallets. These are users, right? Real users. Not generated wallets, not little fun games that come and go over the course of a week or not, but real wallets. We heard about this morning with Vodafone, right? Every cell phone, every SIM card should have a wallet. Every user should be a wallet, or every wallet should have a user behind it that allows you to hold your value. Second, in speaking of that value, it's assets. What are these assets, right? They can be stable coins, they can be securities, they could be cryptocurrencies, they could be NFTs, they could be digital collectibles, they can be invoices, medical records, you name it, right? These are the assets that you own that are your value that you should control. And finally, users with their assets interact with applications, right? These are the applications that work. These are the things that make your life better, faster, and easier. And they span a multitude of different variations, right? But applications can be something built by a 2-person team or a 2,000-person enterprise. That's the beauty of this industry, is that we allow for the innovation to happen. Where does it happen? If you're familiar with the team at Ava Labs and the BD team, this will look familiar to you because this is how the BD team at Ava Labs is organized. Because these are the 6 verticals that we focus on. This is the way we break the world. First, institutional capital markets, traditional finance, banks, asset managers, tokenized real-world assets. That is the incumbent, existing world that we know and interact with on a daily basis. These are the least likely to change. These are the ones that are entrenched. And these are the ones that we're trying to really tap into. Second, enterprise. And enterprise is super broad, but enterprise is an existing business getting into Web3, right? This is your retail, your consumer, your Fortune 500, or whatever it may be. Middle one is exchanges and wallets. That is most people's entry into Web3, right? This is your non-custodial wallets, this is your exchanges, your custody, whatever it may be that holds these assets. Next, GameFi, or gaming. We have a huge focus on gaming, right? It's a perfect demographic to bring people into Web3, let them own their assets, unlock value, and do a ton of things, right? There's tens of millions of users here who are tech savvy, who are understanding of the value proposition. They might not be crypto native, but they understand that gaming matters, and this is how we show these people that the technology works. Next, NFTs, of course, a burgeoning asset class, not just your profile pictures and all the things that we see on a daily basis, but digital art, collectibles. And then you start to look at where that goes in the future. Invoices, diplomas, contracts, right? That can be automated and the things that go there. And then finally, of course, you have DeFi. You know, decentralized finance is something that we hold dear here. And that's really where a lot of the innovation goes. So these are the 6 verticals that we focus on. That is the incumbents. These are the guys that don't want to change. And this is the innovation side of the world, right? This is the magnet that ultimately forces them to move this way, right? You're never going to supplant these guys. You're not going to get them out of the way. But what you can do is force them to innovate and to change the narrative just enough to start catching on. And then ultimately, if you look at it, institutional and DeFi at their extremes could meet at the top, like you saw with our institutional DeFi subnet. So that's kind of where we are. That's kind of how we look at things. But what is the future, right? Like, what matters? Like, why? What do we need to achieve a global, decentralized digital economy? It has to be faster. Nobody is going to jump from the world they know and trust and are used to for a new world with high barriers of entry if it's not faster. If you're going to wait minutes for a transaction to finalize, what's the point? If you're going to wait multiple seconds in a game, what's the point? Very proud that Avalanche is the fastest blockchain measured in time to finality. The second it hits the chain, it finalizes and it moves forward. You can't sit there and wait. You can't be doing complex financial transactions or games or anything else if you have to wait for the transaction to happen. The future is inexpensive. Side note, I use the word inexpensive here. I'm not saying cheaper, because things that are cheap don't always work. Things that are cheap, if you buy something, you're like, yeah, that was cheap. What's the connotation there? It's cheap. So when you give up on something, you're giving up. If you're not paying for something, you're giving up on something. Avalanche is not cheap, but it is inexpensive. As inexpensive as possible without giving up safety and security. And that's something we hold very dear. But also, on the transaction side, if you look at someone who tells you, oh, I just did a transaction on, whatever, and it cost me 35 bucks. If it costs you more than sending a wire, why the hell are you doing it? Like, it's just useless, right? So it needs to be inexpensive. It has to be usable. It has to be running consistently. It has to give you the options, the optionality to have a nice user experience and have a nice user interface. And that's something that we focus a lot on, especially with our applications, especially with our partners, is that what we build has to be usable at a normal level, right? So it needs to be fast, it needs to be inexpensive, it has to be usable. And it has to be decentralized. If it's not decentralized, what's the point?
Most people don't care. Most people still won't care. Decentralization is like safety, right? Like, you don't know you need it until you need it. It's something that we take for granted on a regular basis, and a lot of the people we talk to sometimes don't care about it until they have to. When you need to care about decentralization, it's usually too late. Avalanche has the second highest Nakamoto coefficient, the test of decentralization after Bitcoin. It's something that we are very proud of. We are decentralized without giving up on safety, without giving up on speed, without giving up on scalability. And if we're building a global economy, it needs to be decentralized. And finally, it needs to be sustainable. We cannot try to replace an existing global financial system or existing global technology system if we are as unsustainable as they are. To give you an idea, Bitcoin uses 8.5 million US households worth of carbon in a year to secure the ledger. Ethereum pre-move to proof of stake was about 1.6 million US households. Of course, in proof of stake, we're in a universe of our own, but even Ethereum proof of stake is about 2,200 US households worth of carbon to secure the network. Some of our other competitors are over 1,100. Someone else who says they're greener than trees is about 950. I am very proud to say that Avalanche, the entirety of the network, and we're going to have someone from the Cryptocarbons Ratings Institute here to show the newest study, so I'm not going to spoil his newest findings. Last year, we commissioned them. These are the guys that did the Bitcoin carbon footprint paper. They're Technical Institute of Munich, MIT, academics who did a proper study. The entirety of the Avalanche blockchain uses 46 US households worth of energy. If you're going to talk about the technology of the future, it can't be unsustainable like the technologies of the past or the brick and mortars or everything else that exists. So, we know what we need. We know where we've been short as an industry. What we like to focus on, and where we have, I think, a key differentiation, is in the way we are looking to bring the next 5 million, 50 million, and 5 billion people onto Web3. And we are doing this through subnets. We hear about subnets all the time. But subnets really are the way to do it. Subnets were mentioned in the Avalanche white paper over 3 years ago. It's not something that came about a couple months ago. This is not a marketing tool or something that's a copy-pasta job. This is one of the original ideas of Avalanche when it was created from the ground up. Because builders need their own sandbox and their own toolkits to build their applications. You cannot tell somebody, I love your application, now fit it on my blockchain. That's what we've had before. We've had great ideas in blockchain technology. They are great solutions in search of a problem. That's backwards. The way we've done this, the way we've allowed subnets, is you can run anything you want. You can run your own virtual machine. You can run an EVM. You can run a virtual machine. It's not about our platform. It's about your application as a builder, whether you're an institution or an enterprise or a game. We saw this a couple of years ago. Game developers started launching their own blockchains. Everyone started launching their own blockchains because they thought it was easy to do distributed systems in a scalable way. It is not, nor should it be. These are complex systems that hold millions, if not billions of dollars on a daily basis. But what they should be is a platform for you as a builder to build the application that allows you and your product to succeed. Our job is to give you the infrastructure, right? So if you start to think about subnets, you think of them kind of like blockchain as a service. To give you an example, when you turn on Netflix, it doesn't say Netflix powered by AWS, right? Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. AWS is the foundation which allows you as a builder to build on top of it. And subnets will be the same for all Web3 applications at scale going forward. Custom environments, custom virtual machines, gas tokens of your choice, jurisdiction, compliance, regulatory frameworks, whatever you need, you are able to build your application on the platform that allows you to build what it is you want. You don't need to change your application to fit the platform. And we believe that's really going to differentiate us with all the subnets that we have coming on board between gaming and enterprise and institutional, most recently announced, and everything else we have coming in the pipeline for this year. And then the next step, when you see them start to have interoperability and communications. I'm not going to spoil something coming a little bit later today, I promise. So I'll keep it to that. What we need also is better products. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a little bit of an elitism problem, but we're trying little by little to make that better at Ava Labs. So, very proud of the work that our ecosystem partners are doing in this space, whether it might be payments or NFTs or digital collectibles. At Ava Labs, we've launched the core wallet, which allows you to seamlessly switch between subnets. We did this because we couldn't be reliant on a third party to add subnets, so we did it first. The bridge that's brought tens of billions of dollars from Ethereum over to Avalanche, and of course BTCB, non-custodial Bitcoin, the thing that we all love and the thing that got us into this industry, at least for me, years ago, is now able to be transacted fast and cheaper than other sources. It's not being held in a centralized custodian. It is truly non-custodial Bitcoin. And there is more Bitcoin today on Avalanche than in the entire Lightning Network, which is something we're really proud of. So if you want to talk about Bitcoin as a payment mechanism, bridge it to Avalanche and use it there. But also, proud of the work the team at Ava Labs is doing to spur subnet adoption and subnet support. And again, I will not spill the beans on that one too, but we've got a lot of great stuff coming, and we work very close with our partners to help them build better products. And I think you're going to start to see this with some of the subnets coming out this year as well. And something that I think we are the most proud of. I can talk about all the things that we have, all the things that we don't, but the things that we're the most proud of are the fantastic applications that we have on Avalanche. A lot of the cool native stuff that's being built, a lot of the great innovative applications, whether it be DEXs or lending and borrowing protocols, financial protocols, a million other things, right? We're so proud of the native innovation that is happening on Avalanche. The teams that have come to Avalanche and said, we've been trying to build this for so long, but there never was a chain that could handle this kind of support, or there never was a situation where we could build this. And now Avalanche gives us that opportunity. And finally, partners. We are so fortunate to have some of the best industry partners in this space, from SK Planet to Vodafone to Lemonade, MasterCard, TOG. The list is endless. AWS, Shopify, because partners matter. Applications matter. The people we work with matter, because at the end of the day, Avalanche is only as good as its community and its users and the people building on it and the people supporting us. So really proud of the work we've done, really proud of the community that we've gotten to at this point. And I really think we're at a critical moment where we're going to start to see so much more adoption, because the success we've had to this point, thanks to you and thanks to all of the people supporting us, only begets more support. And all the great things that have been built get you to a point where the next generation of builders or the next builder sees something and iterates on it and builds on top of it and makes it better. So we've been very fortunate with fantastic applications. We've been fortunate with fantastic partners, thanks to the infrastructure that Avalanche provides. And that's what I have to say for you today. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate that, and that's it.